the ticket program. By donating 100% of general admission ticket sales from each competition at Flintfield Horse Park to local nonprofits. Traverse City Horse Shows aims to raise an ambitious goal of $50,000 this summer. Partnering with 15 different nonprofit organizations, Traverse City Horse Shows and the equestrian community are giving back to Northern Michigan across multiple sectors. This year, they will help support efforts in education, the arts, animals, the environment, and health. And today's charity partner is the District 3 4-H Horse and Pony Program. And today, the District 3 4-H Horse and Pony Program joins us as our charitable organization. 4-H Horse and Pony programs encourage local youth to explore veterinary and animal science by engaging in horse projects that develop life skills. Activities include showing, riding, educational contests, leadership opportunities, career exploration, and judging. Now, many activities do not require horse ownership. District 3 includes Grand Traverse, Leilani, Benzie, Kalkaska, Antrim, and Manistee counties. The proceeds from today's main event will help fund an inaugural 4-H schooling show and tax sale hosted by Benzie County 4-H and Forever Farm of Interlochen this fall for all of District 3. 4-H would like to thank all of their local community partners for all they do that make events and experiences like these possible for local youth and all the wonderful people who come out to support them today. To learn more or to get involved, please stop by the 4-H table located on the grounds. It's about 7 minutes away from the first on course in round A of the Young Riders individual final. Out of our top 4 riders headed into the Young Riders individual final today, 2 from Mexico, 1 from the U.S., 1 from Canada. It's Maya Denis currently in the lead, representing Mexico at the North American Youth Jumping Championships this year with the 9-year-old Jantine Demuse. That combination on a score of 1.41 headed into the final. Now Maya, no stranger to success at the North American Youth Jumping Championships, claiming individual silver and team gold in the junior category in 2019. Sitting in second overall, Augusta Iwasaki on a score of 2.81 with Fresca, the 13-year-old mare. Fresca and Augusta together were Maclay Finals winners last year, and this year at the Winter Equestrian Festival took the top call in the big Hermes U25 Series finale Grand Prix. There's Will Martin. Will's amount for the championships this year. The record, Coruscant owned by Leslie Martin. This combination on a score of 5.22. Headed into round A of the Young Rider individual final. In 2021, William finished top 5 in individual for the pre-junior category. Last year here at the North American Youth Jumping Championships, individual gold medal winner in the junior category. Sitting in 4th currently, it's Mexico's Francisco Pascal Vega with dominant 2000Z on a score of 6.39. The young Mexican rider has placings up to the 5-star level in Grand Prix at Spruce Meadows. Those are top 4 currently. Maya Denis in the lead, Augusta Iwasaki in second, William Martin in third, and Francisco Pascal Vega in 4th, headed into round A of the North American Youth Jumping Championships, a Young Riders final. Course for round A begins over the paddle wheel triple bar on the Cabana Coast Club side of the ring with the green, gold, and white rails jumping towards the Riders Lounge. From there, it's a left-hand turn to the Oxer at 2 with the white vase and yellow flower wings and the yellow, blue, and white rails. Fence number 3, the Sandy, the tan brick. And then from there, it's a right-hand turn around the barn fence to the columns at 4. Riding past the arch to the blue combination at 5, a vertical combination there. Water jump comes up next at 6. The net jets vertical, big meter 50 vertical there at number 7. Left-hand turn around the B&D Builders fence to the U.S. Equestrian vertical at 8 with the thin blue plink on top. A triple combination with the log pillars at 9. Oxer vertical, Oxer combination, and then turning right to the barn doors at 10 with the black 8-foot rails. Bald Eagle Oxer comes up next at 11, and then finishing in front of the jury box over the North American Youth Jumping Championships. Oxer with the red and white Mafia rails and the rings made up of the Mexican, American, and Canadian flags. Time allowed is 73 seconds. The course numbered 1 through 12. It's 15 in total. Nick Granite, our course designer, and the Turtle Creek Casino International Ring this week. Elena Kutenai, president of the ground jury. Other members of the panel: Diana Ficini, Gabby Teuscher, Amelia Gomez-Sue, Andrea Herschel, and John Rush. This time, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you all please rise and remove cover, as we will have the Star-Spangled Banner today performed by Oliver Boomer. Oliver will be a sophomore this fall at the University of Michigan, where he will continue pursuing a BFA in musical theater.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, a very good afternoon, and welcome back here to the Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel International Ring at the Traverse City Horse Shows for the final day of the Great Lakes Equestrian Festival. And it's a very exciting finish here as we head into the final of the young riders. They've put in some incredible jumping here so far, and it's the final day of 3 days of a lot of arduous jumping for them. They had their individual qualifier back on Thursday, jump team competition on Friday, so back-to-back rounds there, and here for a potential 2 more rounds to determine final placings. Top 25 were invited back. We're only seeing 22 of those 25 here, and of those 22, 15 will make it into the final, the very last round of jumping here, which will decide our ultimate medals. So Nick Granite designing the second to last course here, and I believe it's a bit of a tricky course. Michael Morrissey alongside me here. Michael, what did you make of this course when you were out walking it?
Yeah, I was quite impressed. Nick Granite has done a really amazing job all week with these courses, and today is definitely a good test for these young riders. Meter 50 in spec, starts right here. That's a 5 stride from 2 to 3. I think this line from 4 to 5AB is quite tough. This is a very big square oxer, and then it's a bit of a flat 4. You see a little bit of hesitation there, but good job. Keep those jumps up. You come around, this is the water jump, fence number 6. 6 strides to the net jets vertical. Unfortunately, that does come down for Josie. Roll back here around the corner of the ring to the U.S. equestrian plank. Bit of an open 5 to triple combinations, an oxer, vertical, oxer, 1 stride, 2 stride. The B element does come down in that triple. Bending 6 to the skinny. And then on our home stretch here, we have an oxer away from the gate, kind of an unrelated number to a Liverpool oxer. It's big, square there, but she'll finish on 12 faults.
So Josie Atherton just finishing up her round, kicking things off here in the young rider individual competition. So perhaps not the most inviting course, but at the same time, these are some of the top riders. I mean, obviously they've qualified to be here, so that in and of itself is a huge accomplishment, and they've made it into the top 25 here in this competition. So these riders certainly have earned their spot, and each one of them capable of jumping a clear here. It's just whether the task of having to come out one last day with some tired horses, maybe some nerves added in there, whether they can live up to this pretty difficult test.
Yeah, it's a lot of stress on these young riders. This is a big week. This is a championship week for them. It's been a lot of rounds. This being the final day, 2-round competition. It's a total of 5 rounds throughout the week, and it's a very important day. The jumps are no joke. It's a real deal meter 50 set course out there today.
On to our second rider, Elena Haas and Santana. They came out very strong on day 1. Didn't quite have the first round she would have hoped for in the team competition, but came back and rallied, put in a 4-fault score in round 2. And it's, I believe, her 3rd NAYC with this specific horse. So they've been here before. They hope to just continue to build this partnership, but already a lot of trust there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, both horses, first and second horse, had a little bit of a spook there at fence number 4. There's a little bit of a box underneath it. It's a big wide oxer. And then it's a quite forward 4 to the verticals. Horse easily does the 6 after the water. Elena's doing a good job of getting horse back together after the bobble at fence number 4. Keeping his attention. Big strided, big scopy horse gets down to 5, easy to the triple combination. It's gonna be a steady 6 for her, staying on the outside back.
Elena training under Andrew Wells. And could come home on just the 4 if she could keep this up.
Yeah, very solid round, just that early rail to back rail fence number 4. For me, that's the hardest line on the course. It comes up very early. It's a big square oxer, a little bit spooky out of a short turn, and then a bit of a flat forward 4 strides to the double verticals.
So their partnership and experience carrying them through there, just the 1 rail down. Time allowed here of 73 seconds, so she was just about half a second inside that. And now a bit of a waiting game for her because she's coming back in about the 21st spot of the starting order, and only the top 15 are invited back to jump again. So it will depend on how the riders kind of immediately before her perform. She might just sneak into that second round, so she'll just have to wait and find out.
I think she has a nice shot at it. I think today's round's pretty difficult. I don't think we're going to have everybody going clear, but we'll see how the class plays out.
Up next for Canada, she's part of the gold medal winning effort. Just the other day on team day, Lily Elliott rides Pesco Adelheid Zed. She's on 23.75, so again, sitting kind of towards the tail end, but like you said, there might not be a ton of clears, so if she can make this count, she could make it back for that second round.
See, that line is a bit tricky. I think all 3 of the first 3 horses got a little bit lost in that first line, that skinny Course designer starting you off with a triple bar, then an oxer, and then your first vertical is a skinny. You see that 4 a bit flat, you have A down.
Yeah, we have yet to see anyone make it through that line unscathed. Foot in the water there as well.
Yeah, it looked like she just didn't get quite up to the water like she wanted to, and then does have net jets down after that, so. Unfortunate 12 faults early on, still a lot to go in this course. Good ride there through the triple combination. 6 rides a bit steady and wide. Defense number 10, that's a -50 vertical, that's skinny. You get a bit of a gallop here. Course designers trying to get you a little flat to that last oxer with the Liverpool. Will be a 12 fault finish for Lily and Pesco. Just at 3 rails, 2 rails in the foot in the water early on.
So this course proving to be very difficult with the first 3 out of the gate there. Time allowed looks a little, probably going to be achievable, but with all of these rails coming down, I think we might see some of the riders put in a bit more conservative rides, maybe start to question that time allowed a little bit in the name of trying to jump clear. So we'll see if that remains that way. Oliver Close up next with jumping Jack ZF. Comes forth on 22.31. So these riders, of course, setting themselves up for the future to jump on teams, and just a little miscommunication there to the first. Didn't quite cover the width of that triple bar.
Yeah, I think they just, horse and rider weren't on the same page going to that first jump. It's a big triple bar starting off fence number 1. Shouldn't be too much of a problem, but I think just a little bit off of that where he wanted to be there. Does have the second jump down as well, so he's sitting with an early 8 faults as he heads to the water jump here. There's no rail over to that water. Can tend to make a horse peek down into. We saw Oliver's horse kind of look down the last stride, and he did have a foot in the water.
When we were kind of chatting earlier, I don't know if they have widened that water at all. They jumped it on team day. I think one of the 4 rounds they did put the pole on top, but not for the young riders, and it didn't play quite as much of a role. It's looking to be very influential here, and I'm not sure what the specs are here for this championship, if they widen it at all on the final. But so far it's been, we've seen quite a few either hit the laugh or have a foot in the water. Last goes as well there, and slightly over into time, so 22 to add there for Oliver.
Yeah, I don't know the exact dimension on the water, but I did when I walked it. I noticed it was no joke. It was definitely a big water. Course designer gave you enough of an approach. You know, it's a long run. It's across the diagonal ring, so it's not like you're coming off a rollback turn or a blind turn. He did give you plenty of space, so there's enough time for these riders to build up and really get up to the base and let the horse jump over. But again, there's no rail over. It's just open water. But it is inviting.
Another rider for Canada up next. She came here to compete solely as an individual, but also celebrated that team win back on Friday. Kiara Semrau pilots Marquise Lebeau Coralie for owner Lon Furter. And Kiara had a pretty good showing on team day when she came out competing as an individual. She and this horse ended up with a couple of rails in hand from the first round, and she really just slowed things down, and she focused on a bit of a training ride. It's still a horse that's developing at this level, and Kiara herself a recently turned professional, so she kind of took back to the training board a little bit, and then with that expertise in her pocket, she's out of contention for the top medals, and it's all about making sure that this horse leaves a better horse, and I think she really achieved the goal she set out to.
Well, we just saw a really good ride there at the 4 to 5AB. Unfortunately, fence number 6 after water did come down, so she's sitting on 4 faults. Vertical, the U.S. equestrian plane coming down as well. Seat of the triple. horse is proving to be very difficult today. You see this order go is in reverse order of standing, so we'll see if maybe the bottom of the order has better luck with it.
So the 4 down with the 1 to add for actually, yeah, 4 down with a few to add for time there. So 21 is the total faults to add there for Kiara and Marquise. Yeah, looking down into the tail end of this order, we have some really competitive pairs. One's still sitting on 1.41. That's Mexico's Maya Denise. We have Augusta Iwasaki on 2.81 penalties. So I think the pressure will really be on for them, but they've proven their utmost consistency over the 4 rounds so far, or the 3 rounds so far. Up next, we turn to Maggie Jacobs. Already a bronze medal in hand for this rider. For the team from Zone 5, Clyde VA is her ride on 16.29 faults.
Maggie having a nice clear round in the first round of the team competition. Starts off with a nice ride to the triple bar. See that 5 strike got a little steady for her. This is the really difficult line. This Oxer is very wide off of a very short turn. Ideally, you'd like to get a forward one there to carry you into this 4. She's got a very big stride. Rode that very well.
Yeah, this rider training with our fellow co-commentator, Allie Wolf, who's put her training hat back on and will join us later on. And she was commenting that this horse does have a really big stride. They don't really like to watch too many before they send this pair in the ring because it just interferes with the plan that they set forth, because this horse just operates on a very different stride length.
Unfortunately, having that plank down there. Horse does have a very big stride, powerful, scopy horse. Maybe the stride just got going a little bit to that U.S. equestrian vertical. We see this last Oxer just come down there as well as the Liverpool. So we'll be finishing on 12 jumping faults and 3 for time.
So 12 kind of becoming the most popular score we've seen so far. Again, we're still very early in this order. A lot of top pairs still to come, but proving to be a very challenging track out there.
Yeah, that early round from Elena Haas, 4 faults is looking to be a very good score so far. Our best score by 8 faults. You know, the next best score after the 4 falters is 12. We have a few of those. We'll see if our next rider, Ainsley Wright, can do it.
Ainsley still searching for a clear. A score of 4 and a score of 8 on team day for 16.06 when combined with her individual qualifier score. Diamato JTZ is her ride. She rides with Zone 4. Brought a huge contingent here, so a lot of team spirit there. They've been on the podium quite a few times so far.
Good ride there to that Oxer. Yeah, very nice. She need to catch that forward out of stride out of that turn just like that so she can get to those double verticals. Really needs to get back for the 6 there. Unfortunately, she just probably got there a little sooner in the 6 than she wanted. Horse does have that down, so she's sitting on 4 faults heading to the U.S. equestrian vertical. 5 strides here to the triple. See, the horse is getting a little bit bloody as it goes. She does have C, the triple down. Ainsley want to put it together here for these last 2 Oxers. See if she can finish with 8 faults, and she does.
It's actually looking like a pretty good score so far in comparison to what we've seen. Probably puts her right up there at the top. So working our way closer to the halfway point here, seeing a 7 so far. Another rider for Canada up next, Quentin Werner at Baumler. Aboard his own Hayden. And just back-to-back 4-fault scores in team competition, so surely wanting to come out here and improve upon that. 15.72 is the score that he brings forward.
Yeah, this track is proving to be hard. It's a bigger track set, meter 50. You know, a lot of these riders probably haven't seen a proper meter 50 unless they've been jumping some of the under 25s or a 3-star. You know, the biggest some of these riders and horses would have seen coming into this week sometimes would have been a meter 45. Seeing early rail there at fence number 2.
Well, I think the height and difficulty in combination with the nerves that these riders are facing coming into the individual final, it's the biggest course and also probably the biggest stage for a lot of these riders. So it's no small task.
Foot in the water there as well. So sitting on 8 faults coming into this triple combination line. Back rail of A coming down. That's number 10. Seems to be jumping pretty good so far. That skinny has been difficult jump to jump all week, but set on that nice bending 6 hasn't been a problem yet today. We'll finish up on 12 faults coming home in a time of 71.30 seconds. So that puts Quentin into a 2nd place overall with 27.72 penalties.
So we're still searching for our first clear. The first round of this young rider individual competition. I think we'll probably see 1 or 2, hopefully a few more, especially as we get closer to the end of this starting order. Some really low scores, especially there at the very top. But we move on next to Alexandra Ryden. For Beechwood Stables, she rides Ilias and a score of 5 and 4 in the team competition for a total of 12.64. So kind of comfortably in the middle of the pack. She's actually only 1 rail from really the top 4. She could kind of have some forward momentum if she is to jump clear. I think keeping yourself on a 12.64 would be a really comfortable place to be going into round 2.
I don't think these riders should count themselves out yet in the middle of the pack here, because this is a very difficult course. A clear round here can really bump them way up to the top, and with 2-round competition today, a double clear round can put someone at the bottom of the pack way back up. Coming into our triple combination line, unfortunately the U.S. Equestrian vertical come down. We've seen that come down quite a few times already today. B of the triple combination also coming down there. The vertical combination is oxer, vertical, oxer, 1 stride, 2 stride. Horse is a nice jumper, a big scopy horse.
She's going to run into a little bit of trouble on the clock there. So it's only 2 rails down, but 4 to add for time. Total of 12 there for Alex Ryden and Ilias. And on to a pair that's joining us all the way out from California. Kate Hovland rides Cruise. And she had a really good showing in the first individual qualifier. I believe ended up in the top 3. And then scores of 4 and 8 on team day put her on a 12.47. But like we said, I mean, the next probably 8 or 9 riders, if they can pull out a clear round, they could really see some upward mobility into the top placings right now. So I think a clear round is looking more and more valuable the longer we go without one.
Yeah, I think, you know, the people in the spots here right now, these riders should be happy that the course is as difficult and proving to be as hard, because they can come out here and shine and put in a clear round and hope that it stays difficult for the riders that are ahead of them and move up. get a bit flat, but she did a great job of getting up there. Horse landed a little shallow at 4, and she really asked her horse to move up.
Just not quite covering that width. You could see her really gearing up out of the corner and really encouraging the horse forward. Gonna have to balance for this triple.
I think she may have pulled a shoe there going to the triple combination. She does have the back rail of A down. Coming home to the last jump, sitting on 8 faults. Time looks pretty good.
I think that's one of our better rounds we've seen. There's only one other on 8 there. Still the one on 4. Elena Haas is the best we've seen. And leading the charge now, Kate Hovland takes over the lead. So definitely proving to be a challenge out there. And we welcome Allie Wolf back to join us to talk through the rest of this first round. And Allie, what have you made of this so far? I know you're out there playing trainer for a little bit for Maggie.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a tough track. It requires some serious jumping, let alone the fact that this is their, I think, 5th round jumping. So it is a serious track that Nick has built. It's a beautiful track, really technical. Again, like we've always been talking about, if you kind of mess up one portion of it, it might catch up with you later. We had some unfortunate rails, but I thought Maggie rode fantastic. She's very newer to this level, so to be able to kind of hang in there with the best of them and put in a really respectable round, I was very proud of her.
Yeah, I mean, making it to this stage in general is such a huge accomplishment, making it to the top 25 and then putting in a very respectable round. So much to be proud of there. Now we watch Alexander Alston aboard Kyoki, a horse that certainly has jumped tracks comparable to this, and Alex himself a silver medalist here in the Young Rider division last year. So a pair that could live up to the challenge. They have yet to jump clear. Not quite the NAYC that they probably would have been hoping for. 12.41 is the score. But I think if anyone can hopefully live up to a challenge like this, maybe it's them. A lucky rub there at the plank.
That was very, very lucky. That that plank we've seen, I mean, you breathe on it and it comes down, and sometimes you get away with the luck of just tilting it.
Yeah, it's come down quite a bit today already early on in this class. It's definitely been one of the trouble spots.
Alex looking really good so far. Might run a hair tight on time, but if he can just... Oh. Unfortunately, I mean, he was good on time. However, the last does come down. I think that really long bend provides a challenge in and of itself. Some of these distances here are so tight, and that one's kind of the opposite of tight. Lets them kind of get a little lost on that striding, and just unfortunately runs into the front rail there.
Especially for that last line. Such a long gallop, and it is so hard to see those pinstripe rails, let alone the Liverpool right underneath it, and going into a very tight corner. So there's just a lot to contemplate there, and a little bit of a different striding dependent on your horse. So horse dependent, it is very tricky.
Yeah, Allie definitely nailed it. I really don't like that jump. The stripes really do mess with my eyes cantering down to it, and then on top of that, he's got a Liverpool and right into the corner. So it is a tricky jump. Unfortunately for Alex, he had that down. He was looking like he was going to have our first clear round of the day.
I'll have to wait even further for that elusive clear. Olivia Williams giving this a shot next with a Rocco Blue S, winner of the first individual qualifier, and stood on the podium for team day. When it's been since that first day that they've put together a clear round here to try to become the first one. Ooh, a little stutter off the ground.
Yeah, that 4 to the 1 is riding a little bit different for everyone, depending on how you get that jump number 4, and we just see that she has the water again. That jump number 4 really holds them off that front rail. So a lot of the times they do land shallow, which when you walk the 4, it walks a little bit short. So when you're expecting it to ride short, but in fact it rides a little bit longer, just messes with your eye a little bit. Her really fighting to get that 1 and 2 strides done. This is a really tricky line as well to that skinny, very blind, very short bending, 6 straight into the corner. Again, you cannot see those black rails.
Yeah, I thought that skinny would have a little more problems. We haven't seen anyone have it down today yet. You know, it was tough in the 2-star yesterday. We saw Olivia there finishing on a total of 20 penalties, which will put her in 2nd place for her overall score.
Just unfortunate, 1 rail down and a foot in the water. And you know, you can't take that second to last oxer for granted as well. Just like what Nick built earlier, I think we saw maybe in the children's, it was coming off a very short left-hand rollback. Caught up a lot of children as well. Just so short, rolling back right off the corner. It's very square, quite wide. The horses are tired by that time. They really don't want to push that hard. So again, that's another factor.
Candidates.
Sorry, Ellie, when you walked the course, did you think that fence number 4 and 5AB would be an issue for you guys?
We have a huge stride. We were hoping that 4 would hold us off and make the 4 ride a little bit more pretty, which it did. Again, we did eat up the 1 stride line, so it actually rode better for us than we were expecting, because those double of verticals with a big stride is always really tricky.
Yeah, and especially the fence 4 looked like it was going to be a little spooky with that wall underneath it, and it's a big wide oxer off that short turn.
Yeah, off that short turn, it looks even bigger. I mean, it looks very, very large, and again, you're kind of seeing that trouble there where they land so shallow, and the girls are ready almost to pull for the 4. They end up maybe pulling in the 5 strides. A little encouragement over the water and gets over it. Hard rub at the net jets, but stays up. We've seen a lot of problems here. It's now taking a little bit of a light rub, these last few riders.
I don't think any horse has jumped it purely clear. It's
Yeah.
either rubbed it a little bit and it stays up, or it's come down. Oh, there's fence number 10, the black skinny, coming down for the first time today. I thought we'd see a few more penalties at that than we have.
Yeah, and again, the brown oxer, you know, this is a true testament to the course designer where rails are just falling all over the place, not really designated to one specific fence.
Yeah, that going away from the gate at the end of the course, a big square oxer like that short turn is got to be difficult.
So Hallie Duke going home still with a gold medal in hand, but drops further down that leaderboard.
Michael, having walked the course, what if you were to ride this, what would you be taking into consideration?
No, I guess it'd be all horse dependent. I thought, you know, the first 3 jumps pretty solid. That the skinny brown vertical with the wall has been jumping well. I really didn't love fence number 4 and 5AB. I mean, I guess I'm thinking of the horse I have right now is a smaller horse, doesn't have a huge stride, which that oxer is very wide, and that 4 is a bit flat to those double verticals. So I know that would be tough. Basically, the black skinny in the corner there I thought would be a more difficult jump than it is. I think what's proving to be really hard is that plank out of that turn. It's very airy underneath. It's 3 rails. There are 2 rails with the plank on top, and the plank is very thin. So
It seems like if you're worried about the front end, you might catch it behind and vice versa.
we saw fence number 3, the brown skinny, coming down.
This rider from Guatemala, who actually fielded a team, I believe in either the young rider or the junior section. So quite a few entries from Guatemala here this week. Ana Cristina Rodriguez and Ferdita.
And another one that catches the water as well. Water is definitely proven a factor, as we saw again in the juniors, headed the other direction. What a difference a change in the direction of jumping it can make.
Yeah, and I said earlier they have a long approach to it, so it's not like it's coming off of a short turn, but unfortunately a little bit of a mishap there in the combination.
That's an unfortunate place to have to start back over. We'll see kind of what she chooses to do. Not only is the triple combination hard to, rebuild the confidence and go back and jump, but especially this one's proved quite difficult.
Yeah, like we've seen before in some of his courses where the triples are on the outsides of some of the rings, that this one through the middle is really, it's a lot to look at. There's a ton of brown poles, especially as you're entering up to fence A. And a lot of them are kind of either holding off of it or getting too close up to B. Again, very horse dependent. It's hard to predict what they're going to do, and it's such a scopy jump out of C with a short 2 strides. A lot of them are landing a little bit dead, a little bit lost. That just, it completely changes up your ride to the skinny. We have such a big stride. I told her possibly a 5 strides to that skinny, but he landed, you know, he had such a big jump over C, landed so dead that it actually helped us out with fitting that 6 in.
Caroline Mawhinney up next, rider that's already got some miles up to the 5-star level, and she pilots Hollywood. 10.75.
And this is probably one of the, still a young rider, but more experienced young rider, has a lot of FEI experience. Could be one of our first clear rounds right here. Trains with Jess Mendoza.
Yeah, and again, I think this is a little bit of a newer pair. You know, we're so used to seeing her with her great mare, Stella La Vista, who's won many a class for her. So I think she's just kind of gotten a few new ones to add to her string. Really starting to learn the ropes from some of these. You know, her gray one is just such a quick little nimble horse. Some of these other ones are a little bit bigger, big jumpers, so a little bit of a different ride. Winding up for the water.
Unfortunately does have a foot in the water. I think you got to watch that you don't ride that water jump too early. You know, you want to get over to the water, you want to be quick, but you got to watch that you're not riding it too hard. I remember when I was riding a young rider like these guys and I rode with McLean Ward, he always told me you don't need to ride the water 12 strides out. You ride the water the last 5 strides.
Yeah, exactly. And having not, you know, really been able to practice a lot, or we don't see the water too often these days in some of these classes, it's very easy to overdo it, override it. And I think it just looked like she maybe did a little bit too much of a wind up and the horse thought she wanted to take off a stride early. Really fighting off that front rail, rubs it, but gets away with it.
Well, that's unfortunate. Just a foot in the water. We'll have 1 for time, finishing on 5 faults, but she does go in the lead overall with 15.75 penalties, just ahead of Alexander Alston.
So far, that's proving to be a really great score. I think if you can maybe just limit it to 1 down. You know, the time, we are definitely seeing more of a factor than we have in some of these previous divisions. And obviously that's weighing on their minds too. You know, if the time was a little bit more lenient, we might have seen some different scores.
That brings us to Mia Bagnato for Zone 2 aboard Balliosco Big Bucks. Really good team performance. 0 and a 4 recorded. That put her on that 10.32.
Yeah, anytime you can jump a clear round in this very long team competition marathon is very exciting, very respectable. And this is a big mover, big jumper. It takes a lot for her to kind of maintain a stride. Really has to fight to get him collected again.
Yeah, when she jumped the second jump and started pulling, I thought she was pulling for 6, but just the horse has such a big stride. This 6 will be very steady after the water. She does a good job fighting for it.
Yeah, so for some of these bigger movers, maybe they have to think or consider a little bit that time allowed around some of these corners, but then not rush these lines. She rode that great into the 5 strides. Jump beautiful. And
She just forgot the skinny. Oh my goodness.
No.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker there.
Oh, and we hate to see that. It does happen though.
I think she was so happy with how her round was going.
Yeah.
She jumped clear through the triple and just completely forgot that skinny. That's too bad. If she can hustle, she's going to get quite a bit of time faults though.
Whoa! And just thought about the time allowed, I think, a little bit too much, but she is getting up. It looks like she's up.
Yeah, very unfortunate to see. Just such a good round. Just take a little bit of a turn. I think just took away from her focus a little bit as well, knowing that she had missed that turn to the skinny.
It's such a shame, you know, she was riding such a beautiful round. But again, you can't take those rounds away from her. That clear round, especially to help her team out, you know, it is, she clearly deserves to be here at this height, at this level. Just one little miscommunication can just lead to something a little bit more major, but it's nice to see that she's up, she's walking, the horse is caught, and all is well.
Yeah, you have to really feel for her. I'm sure she was upset with herself about the skinny and missing that and thinking about that the whole way to the last jump. And it's too bad. She was really, really putting in a stellar round up to through the triple combination up to fence number 10. And
On a testament to some incredible riding that she answered the hardest questions on the course out there.
Exactly.
With ease.
I'm sure we'll see her back up into some of these FEI level competitions. You know, she's definitely, from where we've seen her, I think on Wednesday through now, we've definitely seen a huge progression. The rideability, the control, the jumping, she's really gotten that down pat.
So moving right along, Bailey McKeever, the next to go, aboard Formidable, just back-to-back 4 fault scores in the team competition. And a young rider training under McLean Ward. So, Michael, you know, I'd be interested to hear nowadays if McLean's advice for the young riders has changed, or if he's still echoing some of those same lessons that he taught you. Not that that was that long ago, but
long enough, 20 years ago, almost. Yeah, right about 20 years ago. He's still the same old McLean.
We were just mentioning earlier, we named about 3 or 4 horses that either are owned or previously ridden by McLean. Now here's one that is trained by McLean, so he's definitely got a hand in a lot of these riders in this competition.
Also in the FEI division this week, there's a couple of horses there that are former rides of his, so he's had quite an impact on today's sport, and I think will continue to for quite some time.
Yeah, and it looked like Bailey maybe just opted for that 5-1.
Yeah, I was just wondering if that was planned. She did it very well. It
Yeah.
looked planned, but I don't know if you actually would plan the 5 there.
She did a really good job organizing for that NetJets. I think she kind of lost control of her reins a little bit. She had really long reins coming out of the water, which she cleared, and then gave it everything she had to get the horse back.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw that she did have a foot in the water in the team competition, so I'm sure she got some words of wisdom from McLean about how to ride. Really, the final tail of that last section that we've been kind of talking about, and so far she's putting in a beautiful round. I think time would be okay.
Gonna have to really keep her composure at this last fence.
Oh,
Oh,
she
there we
does
go,
it.
clear round, 71-17 as well on the clock. So she actually did a few things a little different there, and it's interesting to see that they really played out in her favor.
Yeah, she did the 5 strides from 4 to 5 AB, which some riders have done, not many, but she did the 5 there. And I thought she rode a really, really nice round everywhere, very accurate, kept her composure all the way to the very end.
Oh, incredible round put in there by Bailey, and she takes a pretty convincing lead at this point. She holds on to her 10.24 score with only 5 remaining. So I do think that could keep her in top contention for a medal.
Yeah, exactly. It just goes to show you, not all is won or lost or decided yet on days 1, even in the team competition. If you can put in a very consistent double rounds like she did, a 4 and 4, you can really start to climb up those ranks, putting in a big score here.
Yeah,
Sophia.
When you have a difficult round like you have today, really the leaderboard is going to change quite a
Dramatically,
bit
yep.
before we get to the second round.
Our next rider doesn't even sit a full point behind Bailey. Sophia, Katie, and ZG Bella coming forth on 9.83.
A good forward ride there to the triple bar. The second jump has been difficult for a few riders. Sophia rode it really well, did that line, the 5 stride to the skinny, nice.
Gets that nice one done. That was beautiful. Really pushing across that water and really having to get that horse back, working very hard to get that 6 strides.
That was good, though. I think Sophia really worked hard to get the 6 back, and the horse really was nice and supple and came back for that 6 stride there.
Got a very light rub. Again, just like what you said, they're all touching that plank. And unfortunately, the back rail of A does come down.
And you think that, maybe that's the riders thinking about the 5 going into the triple, that plank is riding so bad. I know it's definitely a tough jump regardless, even if it was a single jump. But I have to think the horses or the riders are just anticipating that 5 a little bit there. Well, unfortunately, the last jump coming down as well. 8, faults today. That will be a total of 17.83 penalties, putting Sophia right now into 4th place. So we'll definitely see her back for the second round.
Definitely, with 4 more scores to count. Just like what you were saying, though, with that plank, I think you're right. It's very hard to see. Only 3 rails makes it incredibly airy. Also, I think the placement in which Nick put it right off the corner. I don't think the horses can really get incredibly straight to it, so maybe they're not pushing off completely. I see a lot of touches on the back end, too, which just kind of signifies that maybe they are not pushing off 100% equally off of both legs like they would if it was kind of in the middle of the ring.
So that brings us to actually the first of 2 riders for Mexico in our top 4. They've had a really strong showing. Francisco Pascual Vega, dominant 2000 Z. A clear and a 4 in team action, plus a top result day 1, put them on 6.39. So I believe not quite a rail in hand, but if they can keep the clear, they would hold the lead and wouldn't fall too far behind if they had just the 1 rail. But of course, that's not really the mindset they're taking in here. They want to jump clear, so gonna give it their best shot.
Yeah, Team Mexico really came strong, even from very beginning. You know, they had an unfortunate large fault in their scoring and just had an early fence down that number 3. That is proving to now be a little bit of an issue, I guess, seeing a few riders have that.
Yeah, it's been a bigger issue for the bottom half of the class than it was for the front half. Unfortunately, while we see that 4 got very long there for Francisco, he does chip in 5, has that down, so he's sitting on an early 8 faults.
Good recovery there, though. Managed to jump B clear, even while he was still somewhat getting untangled with the first rail.
Yeah, that was very good composure. You know, anything can happen. You just have to keep thinking forward, keep thinking about that next fence, and really utilizing his body through that entire triple combination.
He sure did. His horse got a little long at A, and he really thought about keeping his body back to get his horse back for B and C.
Really fighting to maintain control over these last 2 oxers. Took a long one to the last, but got away with it right under the time.
I think that natural foot speed allowed him to slow that down a little. You know, I think some of the rails coming down at the last is because that's such a long, slightly unrelated distance, and they're getting a little lost with their stride length and just a little ambitious at the last, but you know, maintained that 8 fault score from early on throughout the rest of this tricky course. That brings us into our final 3 competitors. First of them, William Martin, who anchored the team for Canada when they won the gold medal. He jumped a clear round. The final round of team competition, combined with just 3 time penalties in round 1. So he sits on 5.22. Really good score coming into this final round. And Ricore Corcel was his gold medal winner in the junior category last year at NAYC. So stepping up a level, and we'll see if he can prove successful here in this final round.
Yeah, he's really been a serious contender from start to maybe finish. Again, you know, he's had the experience from last year. He's had the success from last year, moving up into these young rider ranks very seamlessly. It looks like he really hasn't had a rail down, maybe some unfortunate time faults in that first round of the team competition. Ooh, same thing again, and maybe gets away with it.
Wow.
We see a lot of people jumping from the outside, helping him out as well.
Horse looks almost a little backed off. Obviously giving fantastic jumping efforts and
Yeah,
really
he's
good reaction time.
jumping pretty big there over the first few jumps, and that first jump, fence number 4, a bit high, landed a little shallow, and just really never got there. And unfortunately, he kicked out the plank. Fence number, is that 8?
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of hind rubs, a very late falling for that plank, and that was incredibly unfortunate, especially for the recovery that he had 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, I think he actually cleared the plank and then kicked it
Yeah.
on his way down. A little bit wobbly here
Thinking
at
time
last.
fault.
Well, it looks like 1 for jumping and 2 for time there. So with just the 1 down, he would have maintained that lead. However, the 2 time Penalties put him just below Bailey McKeever there. In fact, even just one time penalty would have maintained the lead. So those might prove costly, sitting in the second place position with 2 left to go.
It's interesting, all these scores now are starting to kind of bunch up, get really close together, which could make for a very exciting second round, but we still have the final 2.
Well, the final 2 are kind of in a league of their own score-wise right now. Augusta Iwasaki comes in on 2.81, and then our leader, Maya Denise, is on 1.41. So a bit of a margin there to play with. However, they're going to want to keep it to a minimum. They have 1 more round of jumping left to go. And Fresca is the ride for Augusta Iwasaki, who's been very consistent for her. Double clear in the team competition.
Yeah, she put in a beautiful double clear round. I think she was the first out, actually, in the team portion. So she really led the way, showed everybody that it was definitely a jumpable track, and ever since then she's been incredibly consistent. See what she does here.
Yeah, horse. Yeah, I think just a little bit behind her leg early on, and really wasn't able to get up that 4 like she wanted.
Yeah, I think this horse also can have a very short stride. Just like what you said, landed super shallow. She tried to not make a big deal of riding up to the 4, so she wouldn't have to go steadying so much on the 1 stride, but horse just kind of took it with its belly. Really giving it an expert round through the triple combination.
If she can maintain the 4, she'll keep the lead, but 1 more rail would put her ever so slightly behind Bailey McKeever.
Comes down to this last fence. She does have to think a little of that time allowed, though.
Yeah, she's going to be close. Not just within.
All well timed there. Augusta Iwasaki just with the 1 down, so proving to be a very good score there and exactly what she needed at this point. And now whether she will come in second to last or last in that very final round is up to the final rider here at Maya Denise for Mexico.
Yep, and now within less than a rail, following first and second, it's getting even closer.
Yeah, it looks like a big gap, but it's really not. You know, she doesn't even have a 1 rail lead, so 1 rail can change that quite a bit. It's going to be very close coming in this second round.
Well, the tone sounds for our final rider on course. Maya Inez Denise Chambon and Dantiez Demuse come back on a score of 1.41. It's been just ultimate consistency. She took a top placing in the individual qualifier, and that has been her score ever since. Double clear on team day, and now holding the lead.
So top 15 coming back for the second round after this. Our last to go in the lead with just 1.41 penalties coming into this round. You see at the moment it's Maggie Jacobs on the bubble.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a ton of pressure riding on her right now, or at least her pressure she's putting on herself, knowing she's coming. Oh, she has the same rail. Oh, and B, a late fall. 2 down now.
So that changes things up pretty drastically there.
Yeah, that definitely takes her out of first place, but still, if she can go clear throughout the rest of the course, she's still within 1 penalty of the leader. 1 fault.
That just goes to show you how far up they were originally coming into this. Horse really not wanting to touch a rail now, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I said, okay, I think that
jinxed
was
it.
me. That was definitely me.
Back rail C coming down in that triple combination. Sitting on 12 faults with 2 to come. Big oxer away from the gate here, fence number 11.
Light touch the last, but clears it and just comes home with the 12.
So not too detrimental, actually. She is going to slip into the 4th place position. Of course, we'll probably be very disappointed to lose that lead. But as we just saw, I mean, quite a shakeup kind of everywhere. There were rails coming down at all different elements. Nothing was guaranteed. In fact, we only had 1 clear round, and that was Bailey, McKeever, and Formidable that maintained that 2nd place position. Augusta Iwasaki is now our leader, but by less than 1 rail. So quite a bit could change as we head into the second round of this individual final. And Michael, would love some final thoughts from you.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how this second round plays out. The first round was obviously very difficult. We only had the 1 clear round Probably could have seen one or two more, a few late rider mistakes. We had one with just a foot in the water. But I mean, I think Nick's done a great job. A true championship course should be difficult like this. We saw rails coming down all over the course, so I'm really excited. We'll be anxious to see what we have for round 2.
And then Allie, any closing thoughts from round 1 from you?
Yeah, just to reiterate what Michael said, this is a true championship course. I think if you can hold your own, even with a fault or two here or there, but really feel confident throughout that entire ride, then you're deserving to be here. You're definitely deserving to be in this final individuals. You should be proud of yourself and walk away with your head up.
Well, that draws round 1 to a close, but the jumping is not over. We have the top 15 returning for a very final 5th round of jumping here, and that will determine our overall placings. So anticipating just about a 3:15, maybe 3:20 start for that 2nd round, so be sure to tune back in so you don't miss who will take away those top medals here in these North American Youth Jumping Championships presented by USHJA.
U.S. Equestrian. Thousands of equestrians have united
to watch,
to learn,
to experience,
to compete. In the pursuit of fairness, safety, welfare, and joy.
From the grassroots to the Olympic Games.
Each with personal goals, but all united together for the joy of horse sports.
Ride united. Ride with U.S. Equestrian.
Normal. Nice. You can roll with that. Or you can roll the dice. Be the brave and boldly go a different way. A different wave. It's the risk taken by the gamers, chasing the glimmers. We're the risk takers, the loud laughers, the grand Traverse Bay late night swimmers. It's about the destination. It's about the way. And at Turtle Creek Casino in Traverse City, life is a game, and this is how we play.
With NetJets, travel will always be personal. We do everything it takes to make every flight exceptional. Every single detail of your experience is personalized, just for you. As our standard is not just to meet our definition of perfection, it's to exceed yours.
Whenever you shop Meijer, you shop for more than yourself. You help support sustainability in all our communities.
Thank you.
Today, tomorrow, and for years to come.
What makes good footing? More importantly, what makes safe footing? Is it the dimensions, the foundation, or the irrigation? What if we told you good footing is not a single aspect, rather the entire process, from the design and intended use to which arena builder you choose? With GGT footing, it's not just the most trusted arena additive in the world, but the experience and knowledge to ensure your footing is safe.
Equifair really takes a different approach to product development and to the materials that we use in our products. We're always looking outside to see what the sports world and medical worlds are doing, and we apply that to the equine athlete. We love horses, so that's just what really fuels us to do what we do.
We fly horses anywhere around the world, whether it is a hobby horse or it's an Olympic champion. It's about getting an animal from point A to point B safely, in best of health, and in the quickest possible of time. We understand the business better than anybody else. We do not leave any stone unturned, and we are staffed by horse people from every layer of the company. We give horses wings around the world, across the globe, or across the street.
As a third-generation insurance agency owner, I don't underestimate the responsibility that we have in protecting our clients.
At Fitzpatrick Insurance, it's all about the relationships. The stronger the relationship we have with our clients, the better we can anticipate their needs.
As an independent insurance agency, we partner with top-rated carriers such as Auto Owners Insurance.
This allows us to craft a comprehensive solution tailored to each client.
If you're looking to go out, go up. To get up and go. Whatever you're looking for, you and anyone you bring with you will find it all and more at the Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. Get up and go.
Do something different, just to see what happens. Make a plan, but go where the night takes you. Leelanau is a place that feels like home. That is home, after all. And after the work is done, the lights are on, its doors are open. Possibilities, if you're open, to what happens next, to a game. Friends play here. Leelanau Sands Casino.
2023 will be the 14th running of the Silver Oak Jumper Tournament. A 501c3 charity, from its founding, our mission has always been twofold. First, to provide a jumper show format where horses and riders are celebrated, with all the unique care imaginable. Second, our efforts have become inextricably intertwined with the Kevin Babington Foundation. If you think about it for a minute, it's so logical. If we are to promote and celebrate the sport's athletes at their peak, how could we be less invested in supporting those living their worst nightmares recovering from spinal cord injuries, and this, the world's most beautiful sport. Together with our partners, the Morrissey Management Group, and the spectacular venue that is, in fact, Traverse City, we will collectively aspire to serve both objectives. So mark your show calendars and join us September 6th through the 10th. And for those who can't make it, you can be treated to the live streams from the Traverse City website on Horse Show Live. In the meantime, to Kevin, Kim, David, Alexis, and Jonathan Miller, know we will continue to be there for you. Please visit us at kevinbabingtonfoundation.org.
the first on course in round B. The team in call. And 12 minutes for the first on course in round B. We're gonna have a t-shirt toss while we walk around B. Our Foothill Tourist Park mascot, the unicorn Blink, making game their way around the ring here in the Turtle Creek International. And Ellen tosses t-shirts. On a t-shirt. Going down from the hill, make a little noise, and meet our mascot here at Foothill Tourist Park. Blink. taking a run up to the hill. This is your last chance to get a photo with our new mascot, Flint, before the end of the Great Lakes Equestrian Festival. Don't miss this chance.
Hold on to me as we go, as we roll down this unfamiliar road. And although this wave is stringing us along, just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
If time truly flies when you're having fun, the fall season and the Traverse City Tournament of Champions will be here before you know it.
Well, we're back and ready for the final round of action here at the Gotham North FEI North American Youth Jumping Championships presented by USHJA, held yet again at the Traverse City Horse Show's final week of the Great Lakes Equestrian Festival. And I think the anticipation has been building up to this very moment. We've had some really strong performances out there throughout the course of the past 4 days since we got underway on Wednesday. The young rider section starting on Thursday with their individual qualifier. They had their team day on Friday and a rest day yesterday, so they could come out as strong as possible in this final day here. And we're on to the second round now. First round provided a bit of a challenge. We only saw one clear round, and that was put in by Bailey McKeever. And she now sits in second. Augusti Wasaki ever so slightly ahead of her. And Allie Wolf back for one final time.
Yep, here's the culmination. I mean, this is what these kids have been working and gearing towards all year, down to this final day, especially those top 15. If you got into the top 15 today, you should already be extremely proud of yourself. And again, it just goes to show how strong that clear ride meant in that following class with Bailey. Moved her up so many spots.
Watching Canada's Hallie Duke take on the second round first, and it's a bit shorter, hopefully a bit more inviting, but I am sure we will still see a few challenges on this course, including this line right here.
Yeah, exactly. He starts you off again nice and loose. A little flowy 9 or 10 strides if you want to count to number 2, a left-hand turn. That very big oxer that we saw coming into the 4 stride to that 1 stride in the previous round. 8 or 9 strides bending to that brown double that's now going the opposite direction. That was a beautiful clear round. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I know. I'm so used to that being the end of fence. Followed by a 4 stride. They changed the plank now. It is no longer a plank. It is now a solid pole. Following a right roll back to the net jets. Long gallop down to the FEI oxer. She just rolled back for that 5 strides. And then she's going to finish over here on a Liverpool vertical.
Well, now it's a nice clear, just over that time. So pretty tight time allowed there, 64 seconds, I believe. So clear over the fences. Goes to show that maybe, I know there was a question about a potential inside turn there. It might not be required, because I think if you really are neat and tidy everywhere else, there's kind of a few long runs between fences, and if you kind of omit strides in each of those, you might be okay. But Hallie Duke leading the charge there, just adding 3 to her total score.
Yeah, it seems to be the theme for Nick in these second rounds, really kind of to pull the jumps apart, space them out really wide, have that long gallop to some of these fences. Again, he's really not testing you so much in technicality, just in your nerves. Can you contain your horse, your rider? And again, for that last and final round for the horses that are exhausted, jumping that maximum height of 1.45 m.
Elena Haas came out and put in an excellent round just before this. One of only a few on just the 4. I think only 3 jumped with just 1 pole down. Already an early fault there for her with Santana.
Yeah, that was a little bit too bad. She went a little bit direct in the 9. I walked, you could do a 9 or 10 strides depending on your horse. A little light rub on the 4AB element, but it stayed up. It's a little bit of a trickier second round, I think, than we've really seen. So there is a little bit more of a test than maybe we've seen in the juniors previously today. Again, a very long gallop down to this FEI oxer. And just what you were saying, there was a debate about going inside to fence number 8, which is that brown vertical with the aqueduct underneath it that posed some issues earlier in the class and also in some of these earlier divisions. And the time might be more of a factor today in this round than we've ever seen in the previous secondary rounds, but not for her.
Comes in within that time, so just adds another 4 faults there to her score. And coming in 14th in the order, still a lot to prove out there. Of course, she wants to go in and put down her best possible trip. I don't know that there's going to be that much upward mobility there for that pair. However, I think still holding on to the hope of a top 10 finish. And for Canada, actually for the United States, moving along to Alexandra Ryden and Ilias. And I think 12 was a pretty popular score in that first round of competition here today. Proved very difficult. Alex Ryden with the 12. And coming back, hoping to finish off her North American Youth Championships experience with a clear here today.
And I think that's very possible. You know, it's not, again, a huge challenge in that final round. Really, the challenge is to kind of maintain the same rhythm that you've been hopefully holding on to, what got you into these top 15 riders in the first place. And again, this is the big oxer that you saw earlier, just in a different position, but still coming off of a very short turn. So it will hold them a lot. And then continuing down to this very delicate one stride jump, beautiful through that. And looking like that vertical is a little bit easier to jump going the other direction, especially without that plank on the top rail.
This is a lot of stride and a lot of jump on this horse. So probably going to have to think about the time allowed. I know she was pretty tidy from 1 bending to 2. Gonna have to maybe think about 1 or 2 other spots to make up that time allowed.
Yep, there's the inside turn off of that oxer, at least inside one fence and around the other. There are multiple possibilities. Light rub on the Aqueduct Brown vertical.
I think she is going to run into time fault territory here.
Yeah, maybe should have opted for the inside, but again, you're rolling back on a very spooky fence, so you just have to know your horse.
So the 4 for time there. And it kind of makes sense for, you know, following a really tricky class that we just saw with only the 1 clear. Nick has definitely softened this up a little bit and, you know, like you said, spaced out the jumps a little bit. The actual jumping efforts are not as demanding, so he's got to make something demanding. And the time is another element that is going to sneak up and just be, I mean, it's achievable. We've seen 1 rider well within the time, but it's something that they're going to have to think about. They don't need to just keep all the rails up. They have to make within that time as well.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, when you get to that, you know, final level of the young riders, everything gets a little bit tighter, a little bit trickier. You know, we saw some leniency in the time allowed for the children's pre-juniors and still a little bit for the juniors as well. But once you get down to the young riders, your final section, there's really not a ton of leeway. You know, you've already jumped a really, really difficult track. And just, oh, that's too bad. She just had the first fence. That Just World vertical comes down with the hind end.
So not the best way to start there for Ainsley and Diamanto JTZ.
So already the second round is proving a little bit more difficult than we've seen yet. Again, taking into account the multitude of rounds and fences that they have already jumped, already had to go through, a lot of the rideability, and again, having the hind rail with number 6, the NetJets, comes down as well. Big gallop to the FEI oxer.
Yeah, not too many steps of straightness there to the NetJets. I think just caught that behind ever so slightly.
Just takes 8 down as well. Just looks like the rideability is a little bit, maybe horse is getting a little bit tired, but a bit of a challenge with holding that horse back.
So within the time, but just 3 on the way, so total of 12 there for Ainsley Wright, bringing her North American Youth Championships this year to an end. And working our way now within the top 10. Now we saw a lot of just mobility in general in that first round. Like we said, only 1 clear round, and that rider, Bailey McKeever, is now in 2nd place. We welcome Kate Hovland and Cruz. She rode to just 8, total of 8. I believe it was 2 rails down. 20.47 is the score.
Yeah, so looking at that, now they have to think a little bit about that time allowed. I'm wondering if some might look at that inside turn, especially on those slower moving horses. On these quicker horses, maybe just zipping around. Nine strides down to the second fence. Again, we see that come down. Again, very delicate pole, very delicate material that they're working with here. Really fighting to get it back for that 1 stride. Gets away with the hard rub on both A and B. And again, we see as the horses get tired, a little bit of a change in that rideability. A little bit stronger, fighting a little bit harder. So riders really have to stick in there and really wrestle with them.
Really covering the space in those long runs. A couple of really long gallops in the second round.
We just saw an inside and around turn, like we saw previous with Alexandra. Really big gallop to the last. Stays on the 4.
That's a really good way to end there for that rider. She had 8 earlier, a 4 and an 8 on team day, and a 3rd place finish on day 1. So I think a lot to be proud of there. Really strong performance and showed some consistency throughout the days.
Yeah, especially to stay in that top 10. You're talking about the top 10 pretty much best riders under 21 in not just the U.S., but not just Canada, not just Mexico. Now we've included some other nations, so some of those South American nations and islands. So, you know, you're really talking about a large majority, and being in the top 10, top 12 of that is really spectacular.
Olivia Williams led the pack overnight from day 1 into day 2. She returns on an even score of 20 with a Rocco Blue S.
Yeah, Elena's had some, Olivia's had some very consistent rounds. I know she had an unfortunate foot in the water in the team event. Great first outing. Maybe had a few unlucky fences previous round. Really looking to improve upon that score. Definitely riding with determination. Needs to settle down a little bit into A and just has the front rail or has the top rail of A come down. This is definitely proving to be trickier. I don't think we've yet to see it clear.
Nick Granite really making these riders work hard here in this individual final. It's not being given to anyone.
Yeah, both rails come off. Both top rails come off of 6 as well as 7. The front rail comes off. You know, just a lot of jumping, a lot of fences, max height. It just takes a toll on both horse and rider. Hoping she can just kind of keep it a little bit together to finish strong. Looking at some time faults, I think, as well.
So it looks like 2 there for time as well. Just slightly over the time allowed. So a total of 14 for Olivia and a Rocco Blue. About halfway through the starting order.
Yeah, this is definitely not a giveaway. It's much more harder to predict who could come out on top.
That brings us to Sophia Katie with CG Bella. 17.83 is her score. And of course, the leading score right now is 6.81. That's Augusta Iwasaki with Fresca leading the pack. She'll be the last one to jump, and I think all eyes will be on her. But right now, all eyes on Sophia Katie.
Yeah, you know, these next 4 or 5 riders are all pretty grouped together, separated less than 4 faults and less than a rail. So there could be a huge change up. A little bit of leeway between we see with Augusta here, but anything again could happen. Clears number 2, which we've seen be a little bit of an issue. So far, number 3 has proven to be not that big of a deal, but then 4AB is very delicate to jump, followed by a very short 4. Gets it done. Now needs to think a little bit about that time allowed.
Yeah, a bit more distance between all of the jumps here than we saw in his first track.
Again, rolls the top rail off that net jets. I think just tries to set the horse up a little bit too much. Ends up interfering a little bit with the canter, gets a little bit underneath it. Maybe needs to think a little bit about that time allowed, though. You know, that 5 rides just normal to possibly forward, depending on how you jump in. And a little bit time fault, too.
So total of 6 there. I think overall pretty good round compared to what we've seen out here so far. And still actually the best score was Hallie Duke coming out first with just the 3 time faults. Only one to jump clear. Actually, I believe we had 1 that was 4 on time. So we've had 2 clear over the fences, but no one completely clear. And 1 that I know will be trying to redeem himself after an unlucky last rail in that really difficult first round. He jumped absolutely beautifully and just tipped the very last, ended up on a 4-fault score. Alexander Alston and Kiyoki up next, 16.41.
Yeah, Alex's horse is a little bit of a slower mover, but a big stride. I think he'll just need to start utilizing that stride a little bit from those really long, far away fences, those big gallops, but obviously not let it out too much. Light rub on fence 1. Marches down to fence 2. Neat roll back to 3. Steadies up in the 8. Meets that actually quite nice. And gets really steady in the 4. This horse is incredibly adjustable, so it is deceivingly fast when it looks a little bit slow across the ground sometimes.
It was really tidy there, back to that NetJets Oxer.
Light rub at the FEI Oxer. Decides to slip inside and then go around. Just has 8 down. The top rail of that number 8, that aqueduct vertical, comes down.
He's good on the time. So 4-fault round there for Alex Alston and Kiyoki. So I know he really hoped to pull out the clear there. It's been actually kind of 4s across the board for him all week. Came in on the 4.41. And then each round he's just had the 1 down.
Yeah, but very consistent overall. Again, just a little mistake here and there, obviously. You know, obviously wanting to pull out a clear at sometimes, but consistency is key. Consistency is key, and if you just keep putting those consistent rounds, you will start to head back up to the top.
Caroline Mawhinney and Hollywood, they had 1 down, 1 time fault in that very tricky round 1. So I think ready to take on this round 2 with a bit of a vengeance.
Yeah, Caroline already having a lot of experience, especially at those FEI levels. She's no stranger to pressure. And especially, I mean, she is quite a quick rider. You know, some of these bigger horses for her, maybe she has to think a little bit about the time allowed, but being a quick rider, she always has that in the back of her head. Really steadies for the 4. Now gets moving a little bit around the corner. You do have to give this fence a little bit of respect. Let him out, but not lose control. And she decides to slip inside and inside. Let's see if it pays off. Gets very steady into the 5 strides, gets away with it.
Yeah, that's a big risk there. I mean, it does definitely put you comfortably within that time allowed. And I think with the plan everywhere else, she probably would have had to do that. I don't think she would have come home fault-free if not for that inside turn. So it works out for Caroline, and that's our first clear of the day, 15.75. So she stays on the same score there.
Yeah, exactly. Just what you said. You know, I think that inside turn is looking more and more like a necessity, especially for that tighter time allowed, especially for those a little bit of those slower movers, or if you don't really want to keep having to think about that time allowed in the back of your head. That way you can take your time to some of these fences and maybe not sacrifice a fence.
Francisco Pascual Vega for Mexico next, dominant 2000Z. There are 2 riders for Mexico in the top 5. And he returns on a 14.39, 2 rails down in the first round. But still in a pretty good spot. Aiming for a top 5 finish here.
Yeah, an unfortunate 2 rails in the previous round, but otherwise a very, very consistent round. Very great scores, especially put forth for the team event. Light rub on fence 1. I believe we saw in the previous round, just trying to really manage this horse's stride and energy. It's a really forward-thinking horse, really bounding stride of a horse, and he's really focused on kind of keeping it all together, but he does have to kind of think about that time allowed. Very tidy around this corner. And really sets him up for this next Oxer. big jump at the FEI Oxer and decides to go around. And we'll see if that time plays a factor. It is a very quick moving horse. Gives number 8 a little bit of room and heads to the last. Time could be a factor.
Pretty forward over there to the last and comes in just under. So well timed there. Another clear round there, back to back. So a good spot to be sitting in.
Exactly, and especially an improvement upon that following round. Maybe, you know, I think he came into that 4-1. It just took him a little bit by surprise. Just one little mistake cost him 2 rails, and I think he just redeemed himself with that beautiful clear round.
So staying with Mexico, Francisco's teammate Maya Inés Denise, Gentiana Demuse. They came in as the leaders. They had 3 down in that very tricky round 1. 13.41 is now their score. But a podium finish is still within reach because they're sitting in 4th place right now. Less than 1 rail separates her from the silver medal position.
Yeah, I think she's definitely coming in looking determined, maybe a little upset by those 12 faults in the previous round, knowing she could do better. So at least she's actually coming in, you know, with something to prove, something to ride for, something to fight for, versus, you know, some of these people we might see a little bit later on just trying to maintain. They've already had beautiful clear rounds, so they're just trying to maintain that, nothing to improve upon. It just plays with a different mentality, a different mental aspect.
Just a 9-year-old horse, so I think it's understandable that he might struggle a little bit with that first round that provided quite a few challenges, but he's coming back in top form here.
Yeah, and she's chosen to go around both obstacles there, so we'll just keep her time in check. I think she's seen a lot of people have maybe number 8 down, possibly from going inside, just wants to give that fence a little bit more respect. She looks okay on time, actually. Very quick.
Pretty quick around there. Yeah, 61:23 is the time, but more importantly, that's clear. So both riders from Mexico that are in the top 5 pull out the clear round and remain in the top 5 with just 3 riders left to go. So these final 3 riders will start to determine who is guaranteed a medal.
Yeah, she's definitely set herself back up into medal contention. Again, dependent on these next 3 riders to go, but she put in a beautiful effort there.
So already a team gold medalist here, but looking to snag the individual medal as well. William Martin, pilots Recore Courcelle, 11.22 is his score. They picked up 1 rail and 2 time faults in that first round.
Yeah, Will, no stranger to this same circumstance, I'm sure, from last year. Knowing the pressure that's going into this final round, knowing what he has to do. You know, had that unfortunate rail and a couple time faults. Horse just wasn't quite listening to him enough in that round previous, but looking to redeem himself here. Has a hard rub on fence 1, actually, but it stays up, and maybe that might be good fortune for him for the rest of the course. Hard rub at 3 on the back rail. Again, maybe that might play in his favor. You can see the horse definitely getting a little bit tired. Will's really having to struggle and try hard to kind of get him up and over the fence. But again, I think this is the oldest horse in the class, so to be in the final is amazing. And again, a testament to that program that he's in. Maybe he has to think a little bit about the time allowed now.
Kind of picking up the pace coming around this turn.
Down to the last fence. We see a lot of people on the fence line jumping for him. You do it.
And there we go. Done. And with time to spare there, William Martin secures himself a spot on that podium. So currently, worst possible spot that he could end up in is bronze. And his fate now in the hands of the final 2 riders, first of whom was the only clear round that we saw in that first round of competition that proved oh so difficult. It was a just a light day out there for Bailey McKeever, of course trained by McLean Ward, who I think advised her to do a couple of different things. She added up in a couple of spots that not everyone opted to do, and ultimately it was the best choice for her horse and just cranked out that clear round. Formidable as her ride, as she rides for top honors here, first of 2 left.
It's a very appropriate name for the horse here. Yeah, she had a beautiful round. You know, she's clearly on the up and up, having the only clear round that we saw in the previous first round. So that should give her a lot of confidence. And again, she has a very adjustable horse, so she has a lot of options she can play with. Maybe looking for that inside turn, just for time allowed sake.
I'd be interested in knowing what McLean's final words were to her.
Yeah, and she opts to do the 9 there, where we've seen a lot of 8s. This horse has more of a normal stride, but very adjustable. You can bounce one in quickly. A little bit steady to that net jets. Has to think a little bit about the time allowed now. Pops up the bridle a little bit to set up for that inside turn. She decides to go inside and around.
So I think probably should be good on the time. It's going to run close, but comparable to where some of the last riders were at this point in the course.
Yeah, the horse is just looking better and better jumping wise. Still looks fresh, which is amazing.
And there she goes, up and over, and secures herself best possible case of, or worst possible case rather, of silver medal. So really good spot to be in there for Bailey McKeever, and she absolutely earned it today. A double clear effort over what has proven to be 2 difficult tracks, and it just absolutely makes it look easy out there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she really came from middle of the pack and put in some amazing clear rounds, especially when it counted big here. So that is an amazing accomplishment, especially to walk out of the ring knowing you're at least silver, so you're definitely on the podium. Very exciting for her.
Well, the bell sounds for our leader. Augusta Iwasaki is riding for the gold medal now. She pilots Fresca, and her score is 6.81. But a lot of pressure riding on her because 1 rail down would mean that Bailey McKeever is the gold medalist.
Yeah, so she can have 1 rail to still be on the podium. Unfortunately, it would not be in the gold or silver medal contention. But obviously, she is striving for gold. She came into this striving for gold, had a very light touch on the first fence. Has ridden some very consistent rounds. Double clear for the team event. Had that unfortunate 4 faults at the double of verticals earlier in the round. Oh, it has A. A comes down.
Well, that means the gold medal just slips out of reach there for Augusta.
Yeah, so you see Bailey. Bailey is our gold medalist. Let's see if Augusta can finish on the podium.
Still a few tricky elements left. I think somewhat straightforward of a path home.
Up and over the second to last, headed to the last. Time is a little bit of a factor there. Gets it done.
So just the 4 to add there for Augusta. So she will take the silver medal. So not all is lost. I think still a really good spot to be in. She probably will be very thrilled with that. So our podium is set. Bailey McKeever is our gold medalist, finishing there on 10.24 penalties and a double clear, the only double clear here today. So absolutely earned that today. So huge congratulations to Bailey McKeever on an incredible finish there. Augusta Iwasaki is going to stand in the 2nd place position on the podium with Fresca, and ever so slightly behind. I mean, really just nickels and dimes there behind. So William Martin representing Canada. He took home the gold medal for the team, and he's also got a bronze medal in hand as he leaves these North American Youth Championships with Ricore Corcel. So huge congratulations to our podium. And there you see our top 6. So huge accomplishment just to get to this point. Looking through our top 12, these riders have endured quite a bit this week. Really difficult courses and quite a bit of really incredible jumping. And Allie, any parting words here today?
Yeah, I mean, that was a really exciting class. Even down to the last few, that was definitely a little bit of a change up. You know, Bailey came from middle of the pack all the way to climb up to the gold medal position. So, you know, those looking to do this championship event next year, you know, keep in mind it's not all won or lost by the first day or even, you know, some of the team competitions. That was such a strong performance put in by Bailey and a very formidable duo, I had to. And so that's a huge congratulations going out to them, especially Will Martin. Again, so consistent to come from gold last year in the juniors to silver this year. That is an incredible, consistent accomplishment. And of course, to Augusta being the silver medalist as well. She held so strong up until the very end, and definitely well deserved of all of them, especially the top 15, top 12, and the podium finishers.
And now you see at the center of the ring, we're presenting the Style of Riding Award to Taylor Cawley, who was a top finisher in that junior category.
Yep, we saw her finish, I believe, 5th in the juniors. Oh, they almost dropped the trophy. But very well deserving for Taylor. She's a beautiful, stylish rider, also very effective. She has a great position, great posture for the horses. Horses seem to love her. They jump extremely well for her. Her parents should be super excited, very proud.
Well, that brings this year's edition of the Gotham North FEI North American Youth Jumping Championships presented by USHJA to a close. Congratulations to all competitors, all podium finalists, and everyone just for making it here. Huge accomplishment. And that also brings to a close the Great Lakes Equestrian Festival here in the Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel International Ring. But the season here is not complete yet. We still have the Tournament of Champions coming up in the fall. Traverse City Horse Shows welcoming back 2-star action for that first week. 3-star action coming the second week of the Tournament of Champions, as well as the Silver Oak Jumper Tournament presented by the Davis McCullough Foundation and the USHJA Young Jumper Championships. And of course, action concludes that third week with the American Gold Cup 2-star and 5-star show jumping, as well as Major League show jumping returning, and the ASPCA Maclay Regional Championship. So a lot to look forward to. That start of that Tournament of Champions is only 2 weeks away. So mark your calendars. Be sure to come out and join us for that. And stay tuned for awards for these Gotham North FEI North American Youth Jumping Championships presented by USHJA. Congratulations to Taylor Cawley walking out of the ring with her Jumping Style Award. And of course, massive congratulations to Bailey McKeever, our gold medalist, who is walking back in the ring to present her awards.
Traverse City Horse Shows is contributing to the community through the sophomore season of its charity ticket program. By donating 100% of general admission ticket sales from each competition at Flintfield Horse Park to local nonprofits, Traverse City Horse Shows aims to raise an ambitious goal of $50,000 this summer. Partnering with 15 different nonprofit organizations, Traverse City Horse Shows and the equestrian community are giving back to Northern Michigan across multiple sectors. This year, they will help support efforts in education, the arts, animals, the environment, and health. And this week's charity partner, District 3 4-H Horse and Pony Program. We have Allie Olson, the Osterhaus, and Ethan Kuczynski on hand to accept the donation of $2,505 on behalf of District 3 4-H Horse and Pony Program. The District 3 4-H Horse and Pony Program joins us as our charitable organization this week. 4-H horse and pony programs encourage local youth to explore veterinary and animal science by engaging in horse projects that develop life skills. Activities include showing, riding, educational contests, leadership opportunities, career exploration, and judging.
Now, many activities do not require horse ownership. District 3 includes Grand Traverse, Leelanau, Benzie, Kalkaska, Antrim, and Manistee counties. Now, the proceeds from today's main event will help fund an inaugural 4-H schooling show and tax sale hosted by Benzie County 4-H and Forever Farm of Interlochen this fall for all of District 3. 4-H would like to thank all of their local community partners for all they do that make events and experiences like these possible for local youth and all the wonderful people who came out to support them today. To learn more or to get involved, please stop by the 4-H table that we have located here on grounds. Bringing back our top 6 now. We'll honor the best young riders at the North American Youth Jumping Championship. 6th place honors going to Caroline Mowini with Hollywood the 5th. 5 rounds of competition in the young rider category, finishing on a total of 15.75 for Carolina Hollywood. Mexico's Francisco Pascal Vega, 5th with a dominant 2000 Z, jumping clear in round B, holding on to that score of 14.39 to finish 5th. Another rider from Mexico in our top 5 is Maya Denis in 4th with Jantine Demuse on a total of 13.41 over 3 days of competition in the young rider category. Our medalists now dismounting and making their way towards the podium. It's another medal for Canada's Will Martin as he places in the bronze position this year with Ricoeur Courcelle coming off a gold in the junior category last year. Augusta Iwasaki takes the silver with Fresca. Leader coming into round B, finishing with just the 10.81. On her way to the silver medal for the young rider category in 2023. And the gold going to Bailey McKeever with Formidable. First to take their place on the podium, Canada's Will Martin, bronze medalist in the young rider category. Also a part of that Canadian team that took gold in the team competition earlier this week. Will, individual gold medalist in the junior category last year, individual bronze medalist in the young rider category this year with Ricoeur Courcelle. Next up, it's Augusta Iwasaki. Augusta takes the silver this year in the young rider category for 2023 at the North American Youth Jumping Championships with a Fresca. Just a 10.81 score through 3 days of competition for Augusta and Fresca. Gold medal in the young rider category this year going to Bailey McKeever with her own Formidable. Bailey, the only rider to jump clear in both rounds of the individual final today. The only rider to clear the course in round A, jumping clear in round B as well. 10.24 the score for Bailey McKeever as she takes the gold aboard Formidable. In addition to the gold medal, Bailey McKeever will also be the recipient of the Maxine Beard Show Jumping Developing Rider Award. USET Foundation Maxine Beard Show Jumping Developing Rider Award was established to recognize and assist talented young show jumping athletes with the potential to represent the United States in furthering their quest for equestrian excellence on the international stage. The winner of the Maxine Beard Award will be awarded to the highest placing U.S. young rider at the FEI North American Youth Jumping Championships in the individual show jumping final. And well, that's our gold medalist this year, Bailey McKeever. Congratulations, Bailey. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you all please rise and remove cover for the Star-Spangled Banner in honor of our young rider gold medalist, Bailey McKeever. few more photos on the podium for our medalists, and then they will remount and lead the crew on a lap of honor here at the conclusion of our presentation to the top young riders at this year's North American Youth Jumping Championships. Recap of our top 12, it was Elena Haas finishing 12th with Santana. Hallie Duke 11th aboard Ilana. 10th place honors going to Alex Ryden with Ilias. And 9th, Kate Hovland with Cruz. Sophia Cadian 8th aboard ZG Bella. 7th award to Alexander Austin with Keioki. Caroline Mawinian 6th with Hollywood the 5th. Mexico's Francisco Pascal Vega in 5th with the dominant 2000Z. Mexico's Maya Denis 4th with Jantine Demuse. And of course, our medalists, Will Martin taking the bronze with Ricord Corcel, silver for Augusti Wasaki aboard Fresca, and gold for Bailey McKeever with Formidable. And congratulations to all of our competitors in earning their spots here at the North American Youth Jumping Championships and for an excellent week of competition. Our medalists are remounting. Just moments away from a lap of honor being led by Bailey McKeever. Bailey taking the gold in the young rider category for 2023 at the North American Youth Jumping Championships with Formidable. Only rider to jump clear in both rounds of the individual final today, going clear in rounds A and B of today's final. Bailey McKeever, when you're ready, if you would, please lead us on a lap of honor as the gold medalist in the young rider category for the 2023 North American Youth Jumping Championships.
U.S. Equestrian. Thousands of equestrians have united
to watch, to learn,
to experience,
to compete. In the pursuit of fairness, safety, welfare, and joy.
From the grassroots to the Olympic Games.
Each with personal goals, but all united together for the joy of horse sports. Ride united. Ride with US Equestrian.
Normal. Nice. You can roll with that. Or you can roll the dice. Be the brave and boldly go a different way. A different wave. It's the risk taken by the gamers, chasing the glimmers. We're the risk takers, the loud laughers, the grand Traverse Bay late night swimmers. It's about the destination. It's about the way. And at Turtle Creek Casino in Traverse City, life is a game, and this is how we play.
With NetJets, travel will always be personal. We do everything it takes to make every flight exceptional. Every single detail of your experience is personalized, just for you. As our standard is not just to meet our definition of perfection, it's to exceed yours.
Whenever you shop Meijer, you shop for more than yourself. You help support sustainability in all our communities.
Thank you.
Today, tomorrow, and for years to come.
What makes good footing? More importantly, what makes safe footing? Is it the dimensions, the foundation, or the irrigation? What if we told you good footing is not a single aspect, rather the entire process, from the design and intended use to which arena builder you choose? With GGT footing, it's not just the most trusted arena additive in the world, but the experience and knowledge to ensure your footing is safe.
FEI really takes a different approach to product development and to the materials that we use in our products. We're always looking outside to see what the sports world and medical worlds are doing, and we apply that to the equine athlete. We love horses, so that's just what really fuels us to do what we do.
We fly horses anywhere around the world, whether it is a hobby horse or it's an Olympic champion. It's about getting an animal from point A to point B safely, in best of health, and in the quickest possible of time. We understand the business better than anybody else. We do not leave any stone unturned, and we are staffed by horse people from every layer of the company. We give horses wings around the world, across the globe, or across the street.
As a third-generation insurance agency owner, I don't underestimate the responsibility that we have in protecting our clients.
At Fitzpatrick Insurance, it's all about the relationships. The stronger the relationship we have with our clients, the better we can anticipate their needs.
As an independent insurance agency, we partner with top-rated carriers such as Auto Owners Insurance.
This allows us to craft a comprehensive solution tailored to each client.
If you're looking to go out, go up. To get up and go. Whatever you're looking for, you and anyone you bring with you will find it all and more at the Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. Get up and go.
Do something different, just to see what happens. Make a plan, but go where the night takes you. Leelanau is a place that feels like home. That is home, after all. And after the work is done, the lights are on, its doors are open. Possibilities, if you're open, to what happens next, to a game. Friends play here. Leelanau Sands Casino.
2023 will be the 14th running of the Silver Oak Jumper Tournament. A 501c3 charity, from its founding, our mission has always been twofold. First, to provide a jumper show format where horses and riders are celebrated, with all the unique care imaginable. Second, our efforts have become inextricably intertwined with the Kevin Babington Foundation. If you think about it for a minute, it's so logical. If we are to promote and celebrate the sport's athletes at their peak, how could we be less invested in supporting those living their worst nightmares, recovering from spinal cord injuries, and this, the world's most beautiful sport? Together with our partners, the Morrissey Management Group, and the spectacular venue that is, in fact, Traverse City, we will collectively aspire to serve both objectives. So mark your show calendars and join us September 6th through the 10th. And for those who can't make it, you can be treated to the live streams from the Traverse City website on Horse Show Live. In the meantime, to Kevin, Kim, David, Alexis, and Jonathan Miller, know we will continue to be there for you. Please visit us at kevinbabingtonfoundation.org.